Jonathan, so tell us what's going on in terms of the latest research about media consumption that you're just releasing this month.
Absolutely. So we've looked at media consumption across all categories, across as much of the world as we can get information from. And we have found that TV consumption is on the decline. Linear TV, the amount of time people spend viewing linear TV is shrinking by about 2% a year. However, online video is growing very rapidly and is compensating for this. So all types of online video viewing, so the likes of YouTube, Hulu, and over-the-top television, consumption across the board is rising by about 22% a year. And overall consumption of audiovisual advertising is slightly on the increase on net. So if you include both linear TV and online video. So the news for online video and is very good. For audiovisual, it's very good. Linear TV facing some challenges, particularly from other forms of internet consumption. But if you look at the overall audiovisual universe, the consumption is up. And we think that the same is true with advertising. If you look at the amount of money people are spending on advertising in different media, it's actually increasing in television, not very rapidly, about 2% a year. Overall, internet consumption internet advertising expenditure is growing at about 14% a year. And we think internet advertising expenditure will overtake TV for the very first time in 2018 at current growth rates. So that's going to mark a big shift in the way that advertisers allocate their advertising expenditure. However, a large part of the growth of internet advertising is coming from paid search and classified, or particularly paid search. Now, paid search doesn't compete directly with display media like advertising. It doesn't do the same job. What it does is it matches consumers who are looking to buy particular services or products, and advertisers which are looking to sell those particular services and products. And it can actually act as a great complement to display media like television. For example, there's always a big surge in searches for brands during a big brand campaign, and it makes sense to increase your paid search activity to make use of this. So if you strip out the non-competing advertising, the paid search and the classified advertising, and you look purely at display, television and online video put together are actually gaining share of the overall market. So they're at about 46% of total display advertising at the moment, so by far and away the preeminent display media. And they'll be up at 48% or so by 2018. So audiovisual advertising is clearly the leading display medium and will remain so for many years to come.
Jonathan, can you talk about mobile a little bit, smartphones and media consumption there and what you've been finding?
Absolutely. So the growth of mobile devices, particularly smartphones and also tablets, is completely revolutionising the way that consumers use media, consume media, and is going to upend the whole advertising industry. So we think that next year 60% of consumers will have smartphones across all the territories that we investigate. That's up from about 56% this year. And 18% of consumers will have tablets. That's up from 17%. Now, there's quite a wide disparity in tablet popularity in different countries. So in some countries, they're nearing smartphones in popularity. In others, very, very few people have them. That's partly because of the spread of the larger smartphones, which in some countries are used as tablets. In other countries, the big iPads are already very popular and will remain so. But smartphone technology remains very popular in almost any country we look at. In fact, in I think 46 countries across the world, smartphones are used by more people to access the internet than any other form of technology. So these are mobile first countries where the smartphones are the primary point of accessing media. And these countries account for 45% of the world population. And that number is increasing very rapidly. So today 45%, tomorrow, next year, almost certainly more than 50% of the population will be mobile first.
And finally, Jonathan, as you look at consumption patterns, are there any issues that marketers should be concerned about? We hear a lot about problems of viewability, we hear about fraud, we hear about the emergence of ad blocking. I don't know if any of those sort of turbulent issues in the advertising work sort of bubbles up in your reports. Anything like that?
Well, yeah, I mean, these are obviously very important issues. I think on the first two, when we're looking at viewability and fraud, I think they're very big problems now, and technology is starting to address these problems. So advertisers and agencies and technology companies are beginning to work with standards, practice, and ways to cut down on the problem, to certify the number of ads that are being viewed, to investigate what portion of advertising is fraudulent and work out how to cut those out. In terms of advertising spend, I think what's going to happen is that as these problems are addressed, we're going to see slower volumes, but we're going to see higher prices, because advertisers and agencies are going to start to cut out the number of ads that don't actually reach consumers, but those that do will be more valuable, simply because they are actually changing people's minds. They are actually causing interactions. They are actually doing the job they're supposed to do. So volumes will go down, but spend will go up. In terms of ad blocking, that's certainly a thornier issue. I think what it's going to do is accelerate the transition to mobile, and it's going to make in-app communication more important. I think consumers spend about 87% of their time on mobiles now in apps rather than in browsers. So it's already the most important way that marketers can communicate with consumers. And most ad blocking is in browsers. So, but what it will do, I think, is also accelerate the transition from mobile banners, which are intrusive, they're ugly, they're also ineffective. Hardly anybody clicks on them, and when they do, it's mostly by accident. And it will make native in-app communication much more important. Communications that sit smoothly within the content of the app that the consumer is using, that acts like the content they're actually interested in, which communicates in a much more consensual and effective way, and doesn't get blocked because it's the sort of content that consumers are interested in. That will become ever more important.